So as you can see, I'm out here on a raft in the middle of the Caribbean. I've been challenged to put my survival skills to the test, and I accepted. All I have is this raft that you can see underneath of me. I have a backpack with a few resources that I don't even know what's in it, but I was accepted the challenge and I've been put out here. Now, I'm going to try to find rescue. I'm hoping that the current pushes me toward an island somewhere and not deeper out into the Atlantic. But it's a desperate situation and I gotta find rescue. So I've been out here for a few hours, and luckily, toward my favor, I was pushed toward an island, but the waves are very violent today, and I don't want to get caught in the pound zone with this raft. It weighs a lot, it's very heavy, it's waterlogged, and if I get into the pound zone, and it gives me a mechanical injury or a laceration that could break a leg, an arm, or cause me to have a laceration that gets infected, I would liable to be dead out here. So I'm going to abandon the raft and attempt to swim to shore. So I was able to make it ashore, thankfully safe and uninjured. The waves are very strong and the wind is very strong today. And thankfully and luckily, toward my favor, it actually pushed me toward the island here, and now I'm on dry ground. But that doesn't mean that I'm any less dangerous of a situation, because you have about 72 hours to find rescue out here before it gets really, really dangerous, and most people never make it past that. There's a lot of things that could kill you. Dehydration is one of the major things that will kill you out here. You got 72 hours before you die. So you have to be able to be proactive, find resources, try to find something that you can make it those 72 hours and to find rescue. I'm not one of those people that want to just come ashore and sit here and end up dying because you can't find rescue. You don't know if rescue's coming. You don't know if a boat's coming. You don't know, so you have to stay proactive, keep on the move, but don't do too much to where it destroys your body and you get dehydrated, because you will go down. Now, there is things that you could do if you know what to look for and you know what to do. You can survive this situation, but the main thing you got to do is stay calm. Now I'm going to look for what kind of resources that I can find. The good thing about being here around the ocean is there's usually lots of trash. Trash can be your best friend. There's a lot of resources that can be found among the trash. What someone threw away could be your lifeline. So don't mistake anything. Look for everything. Find anything that you could use, because it will be beneficial. I'm going to look for shelter now because it's getting late in the evening. I probably have a few hours of daylight left. I'm gonna try to shelter in for the night. And then from there, I'm gonna look for resources after that and try to make my way out of here tomorrow. So as I'm walking down through the beach and looking for a place to shelter in for the night, the big thing you have to do is keep your eyes peeled. Look, as you can see right here behind me, you see all this trash that's laying up and down the beach through here. If you look among this trash, you will find something that's useful. The main thing I need right now is some kind of container that can carry water when I do find that water. Because once you find the water, you need to be able to take that water with you, because you can't just stay where the water is. You have to move and keep moving and be proactive to find the rescue. So what I'm looking for is any kind of container that's strong, that's sturdy, whether it's plastic or glass that I can clean up. Like just around here, there's all kinds of plastic bottles. And right here is something that's an extremely useful tool that I've just found right here. If you look, this bottle right here is just a simple glass bottle. It looks like trash to most people. But this bottle right here is a container that I can clean up and store water in. And I may possibly, if I cannot find fresh water, will be able to use this to make a desalinator out of it. Now, if you look around and you can find the resources, you can desalinate the ocean water, because on these islands, you will realize that fresh water is a very rare source of commodity. So if you can't find that fresh water, it's expedient that you find stuff like this to be able to use as a resource. I'm still looking for a little bit of trash, and I found something here that's going to be very important. And this is stuff that you got to look for. When you find stuff like this is what you know is good resources. I almost missed this because it was caught under some brush and some trash here, but thank God I found this, because this is a vital tool that I will need for the desalinator. I'll show you what it is real quick. If you look right here, amongst all this, I found this rubber hose. This rubber hose is going to be what I really need to help finish this desalinator. Now, I also will need a fire tonight, but when you're looking for some type of hose, it can be bamboo, small bamboo, it can be rubber hoses, it can be metal hoses, it can be copper hoses, anything that is a conduit that can carry steam can be used to make a desalinator. So look out for this stuff when you are walking down the beach, and don't miss it, because this is what can save your life. So I found the place I'm going to shelter for tonight. It's about the best place I've seen so far. It seems to have plenty of resources. It has about everything that I need to build a shelter tonight and stay warm, to build a fire if I can, and just to be able to be safe. And it has everything that I'm looking for. As I said earlier, you want to be up off the beach some, and if you look here, that it's kind of open in this area. I'm off the beach plenty of way. I can still be off the beach away from the waves, and yet I can still have eyesight out to the water to make sure that if I see a passing boat go by, that I could try to somehow signal that. And I'll show you how to signal that if you see a boat go by here in just a little bit after I get a shelter built. Because right now the most important thing is, because all day I've not seen a boat go by, to me the most important thing I need right now is to find shelter, try to get water, because I'm extremely dehydrated, and I don't think that I need to be walking around too much more. And I need to take a break, because I can tell my body's getting faint, I'm getting weak, I'm getting really thirsty, my spit is really dry. The salt really affects you big time here. The heat affects you. I've sweated all day. I've tried to take my time as I was walking down the beach and not exert too much energy, but it's important that I try to be rehydrated and find some calories to replenish the calories that I lost. When looking for a shelter location, I'll show you why I chose this location. If you look, I am elevated. I'm off the ocean. I'm elevated up there. I don't have to worry about the waves coming that way. And even here behind me, there is a drainage ditch. So I don't have to worry that if I build a shelter here and it becomes a storm tonight, I don't have to worry about being in the middle of the night and my shelter being flooded and I can no longer use that shelter. So I see that as a resource. I'm looking around and I see all these pine needles. All these pine needles are great because it's easy to start fires in this, and it also makes good bedding. And if I look here behind me, you'll see that there's palm branches. All these palm branches really make good shelters because you can put them for roofs, and they are proper drainages to actually make the water run off of the shelter and keep you dry at night. So these are the kind of things that you need to look for when you're out here building shelters. Another valuable resource that you need to keep your eyes peeled out for is if you can find some type of cordage. If you look for cordages on these beaches, you will find rope that's been washed ashore, cables, wires. Sometimes you can use vines. Whatever you can find to be some type of cordage will be very useful, especially when you go to build your shelter. You can use that to tie up your frames and make it good and sturdy, even tie your roof on to make sure that it's sturdy enough to withstand any type of storm. As I was walking across the coral down through here, I looked up and I saw this. I saw this rope laying here. This rope right here is an essential lifeline that I could use to build a shelter. This is the stuff that you don't want to miss. It looks like junk, it looks like trash, but this is the stuff that will save your life. Do not pass this stuff up. Take it with you. So, a really good score that I have been given is a kukri, a machete. This is awesome to have this. This will help tremendously in building a shelter. If you have one of these, then that is really, really good. Hopefully I got some more goodies in here that will help me out tremendously. I have some steel wool. That might be useful. I can figure out some kind of resource and use for that, but remember, everything's a resource. So I'm gonna hang on to this and see what I can do with that. The other thing, well, looks like it's pretty empty. I wasn't given much, but the other thing I was given was this challenge coin. Now, I don't really know what I can do with the challenge coin. I mean, maybe it's cool to keep, flip, do whatever. Maybe I might hide it for somebody to find it. I don't know. But nevertheless, I've been given a challenge coin, some steel wool, and a kukri. Now, obviously, my greatest asset is this kukri, and the rest of it, I'll see what kind of useful things that I could use and make out of it. So I'm going to begin to build the shelter once I take a little break here, and I'll take you along as I build the shelter. Now, this cord is extremely big and large. I can't use it in that manner, but if I take and cut it apart, these little strands in here will be very useful and will be really good for a makeshift shelter. I'm not here for a long time, I'm just here for a good time. If you don't have a knife and you don't have anything to cut with, there's plenty of glass bottles and stuff out here on the beach that I could have broken and used to cut this. So remember, anything can be a tool. Look for glass, look for whatever you can find, a sharp object. You can, a rock, sometimes you could take a rock and beat it together and smash this and ended up breaking it. So anything you can find can be a useful tool if you're willing to put your mind to work and to know how to use it correctly. Now the shelter's almost complete. Still got a few holes that I need to work on, but for the most part, it's pretty well complete. It should keep me warm, it should keep me dry tonight. I've taken these pine needles and I've made a good little bed up here. These pine needles are actually extremely soft. This is a great thing to find and a great bed to sleep on. The ground will conduct heat from your body, so you need something that's soft and something that will make an air gap between you and the ground so you don't get cold, especially if it begins to rain. Water conducts heat 25 times faster than air from your body, so you don't want to get wet. You can still become hypothermic out here, even though you're in a tropical climate, if the temperature begins to drop at night and during a storm. So you want to make sure that you're warm and dry as much as you can. Like this right here will make a great bed tonight. I can lay right here. I'm almost 100% covered. Maybe a few drops will get through, but I've got a nice soft bed right here that I could relax tonight, rest up for the journey that I have tomorrow. I can still see out the ocean this way if there's a ship that comes, and I'm also got to go down and build some fireplaces because the international sign of distress is 3. So in order to find rescue, if I see a ship, I'm going to build 3 fires on the beach where they'll know that it's an SOS, international distress signal, that I can be rescued by those 3 fires. You don't need just 1, you need 3. 1 means you're okay, 3 means I'm in distress, come find me. So remember that, always in 3s. So after I got done building my shelter, I wanted to come out and scour the beach real quick just to see what other kind of resources that I could find before I went to bed. And I actually found something right here that most people would overlook. But this right here is what's really going to help me tonight. You see this battery? This battery right here is possibly my fire starter tonight. Now, I hope there's enough juice left in it to actually get a fire started. I don't know, it could be completely dead, but it don't take a whole lot. So if you find one of these and it's got any juice left in it, I'll show you how I can get fire tonight with just this simple tool right here. And what other resources I've got, take this and the other resources and I will be able to make fire tonight. Now that I got the shelter built, the next thing I need to do is I need to try to find water or find some way to hydrate. Right now, the only thing I could find is this bottle, this cord, and these bottles, one of these bottles that I found out there. So I'm going to attempt to try and make a desalinator, and I'll show you how to do that real quick and I'll talk you through it. This is a good bottle because it's a good, strong, sturdy bottle. It should be able to put in the fire, and hopefully it don't bust when it gets in the fire with it full of water. It shouldn't, but what you want to do is to take the cap on it right here. We've still got a good cap on it. I'm going to poke a hole in this cap to be able to put this hose down in it. Don't make it too big because you want this to try to seal there, because what's going to happen is in a desalinator is as this heats up, the water inside this heats up, it will create steam. The steam will go through the hose and it will fall out into a bottle as condensation. Now, it takes a long time. It's not very, you ain't gonna get a lot of water out of this, but you might get enough to survive. You need anything that you can get. If it's a couple drinks, it's a couple drinks. It's more than what you had before. So I'm gonna show you how to make this desalinator. It's pretty simple to make, and something you definitely need to remember if you're ever in a situation like this is make sure that when you do this, you want this end to be extremely tight. So right there, I just kind of knocked a hole in it and spinning it around to create a hole in the top of the cap that will be somewhat sealed. Now, if you look in the cap, I didn't create a big hole. I'm going to make it just a little bit bigger, keep going at it until the hose will actually fit in it tightly and snugly. Need to go, you can see, they go just a little bit bigger. Be careful and don't go too much, because then all your steam will escape out that way. So now that I got the hole a little bit bigger, I can take this hose and shove it down in there, and it creates a pretty good seal around that. It don't need to be real deep down in there as long as it's in the top of it. Try to take all the obstructions out of it. This bottle actually has some sort of plastic cap in the middle of it, which I'm going to take out because that don't need to be in there. So I'm going to stick the hose back in it, and that creates a pretty tight seal right there. That right there should be tight enough, especially this has some kind of cork material down in it, which creates an even better seal. So as it heats up, when you do this, you don't want to fill the bottle completely full of water, because if you do that, it takes a lot longer to create steam. What you want to do is create it put it about halfway full of water. That way it starts boiling and steaming a little bit quicker, and then the steam, the condensation, as it comes through this cord or this tubing here, it will cool down and fall down as condensation into the bottle. So you want to do the same thing in the end of one of these bottles like this, is poke a hole in the top of it as well. Be careful when you do this that you don't cut yourself. Remember, you don't want some kind of injury out here that you got to take care of and nurse the whole time you're out here. It really slows you down. So just be gentle. If you just twist it, it will cut into it very slightly. If you keep just going in a little bit further and a little bit further, it will ream the hole out to the proper size that you need. Now the hole on this side can be a little bit bigger, and you probably want it a little bit bigger so it don't actually build up pressure. So it's okay to go a little bit larger in this side. Now, like that. Now, that right there can be a desalinator. That right there can absolutely save your life. Like I said, you might not get a lot of water out of this, but you should get enough water to at least get a couple drinks by the end of the night. And that right there will be a miracle. That right there would be enough motivation and psychologically to help you get out of this place alive. Just those small wins like that is what gives you the confidence and the ability, the psychological mindset. I can do this. I can survive. Just look what you can find. Use these things. Use them to the best of your abilities, and you will survive this types of place. Okay, so I'm getting ready to attempt to start a fire. Now, thank God that I was able to find this battery down there on the beach. This right here actually will give me the ability to cross over and to start a fire. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. This right here was awesome, an awesome find. I hope it's still got enough juice in it to make it spark, but hopefully it does. I'm praying that it does. If it don't, then I don't know what I'll do, but this right here, and this is where the steel wool is going to actually come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break off some of this steel wool, rip some of it apart, kind of spread it a little bit. Now I've made a tinder bundle. These tinder bundles, you want to make sure they're really dry and really flammable materials, because all you'll get sometimes is a spark, and you got to take and nurse that spark and get it to grow hotter and hotter. So you want a good tight tinder bundle, a good dry tinder bundle. What I'm going to do is take this and put it inside this tinder bundle. And as you can see, the steel wool inside the tinder bundle. Now, when I do this, I'll try to get a little closer for you so you can see. When I do this, and I hit it with this battery, you can see it starts to spark a little bit. And hopefully, I can get it to spark enough to catch fire. Might take you a few times, but see, sometimes it's that simple. It's that simple. Now I got fire. All I needed was some resources that I found. I had some steel wool. I found a battery. Now all I have to do is nurse this fire. I can have water tonight. I can have warmth tonight. And this fire right here is an absolute life source. So now that I have my fire going, I'm going to take my desalinator. I'm going to put the hose back in, and I got it about half full of water. I'm going to stick it in here. Now, you don't need a real big fire for this, but you need a somewhat decent fire, and I'm going to just set this somewhat at an angle to where the water can heat up. I'm going to take this hose and I'm going to put it down this way. That way, as this water heats up, the steam is going to go through this hose, and it's going to end up filling this bottle up. Like I said, it's not going to give me a whole lot, but it will give me enough to at least get a couple swigs of water out of it tonight. Maybe a couple drinks, and if I get that, that's actually amazing. And hopefully by the morning, I might have a full bottle. So I come back up, it's been about an hour. The desalinator's been by the fire for about an hour. I look down, there's actually at least a good swallow of water in it, and I'm gonna go ahead and drink that because I need it. And hopefully I can get some more before the end of the night, and I'll let you see how much is actually already in it. If you look, there's not a lot, but you know what? That's enough to wet your throat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna take it off and go ahead and drink that right now while I'm here, because you never know what could happen. And while it's in there, I want all that I can get. I don't want to risk losing it, and I need it desperately. Man, that one little swallow is such hope. So I was able to make it through the night. It did come a good rain on me last night. My shelter held up. It done its job. It kept me warm. It kept me dry. Because if I didn't have this shelter last night, it would have not have been a good thing. I would have been probably falling into hypothermia, especially because this morning the wind really kicked up. I don't know if you can see right now behind me, but the wind is really strong right now. And I had to actually get up in the middle of the night early this morning and secure my shelter with this cordage. And if I didn't have this cordage last night, it would have been all over. I would not have had a shelter because it basically blew my shelter apart. And thankfully I had the cordage to secure it, and I actually was able to make it through the night. It put my fire out. As you can see, the fire went out, and last night around when it started raining, but luckily I was able to get about a half a bottle of water before the fire went out. I like to have a full bottle, but nevertheless, hey, this is a win. I'll take it. It may not sustain me for a long time, but it'll give me a little bit of the rehydration from what I lost yesterday. Now, don't be fooled. Though it's cooler today, don't think you still can't get dehydrated, because this wind will evaporate your water from your body and your sweat faster than you realize, and you still can be dehydrated out here. So it's important to keep trying to find hydration, whether it's coconuts, whether it's fresh water, whatever you can find. Keep putting things in your body, hydration in your body. Keep trying to replenish the calories that you've been losing. Before I get off on the track today to go up the coast, I'm going to finish this off, and hopefully I can find something else here pretty soon. So I'm getting ready to pack up, take what resources I can with me. I don't want to carry a heavy load, but I want to carry exactly what's necessary. And along the way, I'm going to keep my eyes out and keep looking for anything else that I could find. So I'm going to pack everything up, and I'm going to start heading up the coast. Take one last look back at the shelter. Wasn't here for a long time, but I was here for a good time. Thank you for saving me last night. Let's go. Been walking up the beach. I think I went a couple miles already. It's hard to tell exactly how far I went, but probably 2 to 3 miles. It's really hard out here today. It's exhausting. The sand is like, you just sink up in it, and it's like walking through deep snow or something. But it's really still pretty windy. The wind still hasn't died down. I don't know what I'm going to exactly do about shelter tonight. Hopefully I can find somewhere to get in or get behind to block this wind, because this wind is extreme, and I don't know if there's any way I can be able to make fire tonight. But I did spot something right now that is a lifeline, because I don't think I'm going to be able to make fire and desalinate water. But I actually found another coconut washed up on the shore. To be honest with you, I almost missed it. When you're tired and your brain's kind of foggy and you don't have the calories, or you're getting dehydrated, it's expedient that you keep your eyes out, because you could miss this. Like I could have almost missed this. And that little bit, what I'm going to find of hydration in this coconut and what little bit of meat to replenish my calories will continue to help me get through this journey. So keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to take this coconut. I'm not going to eat it right now. I'm going to put this in my pack, and whenever I settle down for tonight and try to find shelter, then I'll probably crack it open then, or before I go to bed. That way I can try to maybe sleep pretty good tonight. I need some rest. I'm tired. It's been a heck of a journey, but I know I will find rescue soon. So I've made it about several miles or so up the coast, and man, it's been a tough day. I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm really thirsty, could really use something to drink, and I'm looking up ahead of me, and I see a long, long distance of just what is sharp, rocky coral. And it's getting later today. I'm afraid I need to take shelter right now, and I found a place I think I need to take shelter tonight. I really don't want to traverse this rocky, sharp coral at night in the dark. That's how you get hurt out here. You can trip, fall, you can krill an ankle. This stuff is really sharp and will cut you up and lacerate you very deeply. So I don't want that. I don't want to get caught in the dark. I don't know exactly what time it is. I can't see the sun, but I do know that it seems like it's getting later in the day. So I'm going to try to build a shelter and try to take shelter and refuge tonight. Hopefully by the morning, this wind has died down. It'll be a lot easier to get out of here. So I have picked out a spot for tonight to find shelter. If you look here behind me, the reason I picked this spot is because the wind is extreme today. And if you look closely, there's a huge mound of sand that is right here. This sand, this mountain here, normally I would say you want to shelter somewhere that you can find the coast. You want to always be able to see the coast. But in this situation, I need to find refuge from this wind. And right now, this is the only place that I could find. This mountain of sand that's right here behind me, if I build a shelter right here in this location, this will knock the wind. The wind is probably a lot, it's already dropped 50%. This is where I'm going to build my shelter in between these two trees, as close to this mountain as possible, this dome of sand, because it's blocking the wind. And that will help actually keep my structure sturdy and keep the rain off of me. And it's a lot less windy here than it is over there. So I'm going to build a shelter here. Looking around, I have a lot of the same type of resources that I had in my last area. I have the pine needles, and I have some palm leaves and things of that nature. So I'm going to begin to build a shelter just like I did earlier, because it worked last night and it should work tonight. So I was able to get a simple shelter built. It probably took me about 10 or 15 minutes, as you see here behind me. Just a simple roof, lean-to. I got some pine needles for the bed again. I don't think I'm going to be able to build a fire tonight. It's just too windy. It would either blow the fire out or catch the whole place on fire. So if it dies off tonight, then yeah, I will actually try to start a fire and try to use my desalinator. But right now, to be honest with you, I just need some rest. I'm going to try to lay down and get a little bit of rest. I may eat the coconut here in just a little bit and try to get a little bit of energy before I lay down. But right now, tonight, my plan is just to shelter in, hunker down, wait for this wind to blow over, wait for this storm or whatever it is that's coming by, and head back out in the morning, and hopefully I find a place of rescue. So before I head out, I'm gonna try and eat what I can of this coconut. It ain't a very big coconut, it's small, but hey, a win's a win. I'll take what I can get. I'm extremely exhausted. I got extremely cold last night. It's a really cold night. This wind is relentless. It's not giving up, but hopefully, I know that this is really the crucial day that I have to find rescue today. So I'm gonna get what I can out of this coconut and try to make my way out of here. Hopefully I find someone. There isn't a lot in this coconut. Matter of fact, there's really not any meat in it, but there is a little bit of water, so. Water was no good, unfortunately. It happens. What was a win turned into a loss. I don't know what was wrong with it, but it did not taste right. So I'm not drinking it because I don't want to be sick out here. And I know I need it, I know I wanted it, but I would rather not be throwing up what liquids I have in my body on my way out of here. So I spit it out, got rid of it, and maybe I'll find something else on it later on. So I'm getting ready to head on up the coast and hug the coast as I go up. This is the same direction I've been going. I'm getting ready to traverse over all this coral. This coral here in the Caribbean can get extremely, extremely sharp. Even with these water shoes on that I have, they can slice right through them. You don't want to be out here barefooted, that's for sure. One thing I recommend, along these beaches, I've seen shoes laying everywhere. So if you don't have shoes, take shoes with you. I know the sand is extremely soft, but that curl is no joke. It's like walking through razor blades. So I was walking down the beach and I think something has caught my eye. And if it's what I think it is, I think it's going to be a huge score for my calorie deficit right now. I'm going to take you up here and show you what you got to do to survive in places and situations like this. So most people would overlook something like this, but this right here is a thing that you need to survive out here. These termites will provide a lot of lost protein and a lot of lost nutrients that my body needs to survive. These right here are 98% digestible. They're a great source of protein. They're actually a great source of vitamins A, C, and B12. They also have a lot of fat in them, like the omega-3s and omega-6s that your body needs. So don't overlook stuff like this. I know it seems disgusting, but stuff like this is what's going to help you survive. So you can take these and you can cook them over a fire if you have some way to contain them. But when I'm on the move and I'm being proactive, I don't have time to make a fire right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my finger in here and they're going to come out of my finger and I'm going to begin to eat them and replace the calories that I've lost. So don't be afraid to do this type of stuff. This is what you have to do to survive. Okay, so I'm going to show you what to do here. All you have to do after poking a hole in the side of it, you just take your finger and stick in here like this. As you see, they start coming out on my finger. And once you get some on your finger, like this right here, just now each one of these has macronutrients in it. This will absolutely replenish the calories that you've had lost in your body. As I was coming around the bend and coming up through here, I ended up finding something over here to my left that really gives me hope. I started seeing some human tracks and a trail that leads up off of the beach. So I'm hoping that somewhere in there is civilization. I'm going to follow this trail up through here and see where it goes. So I came up off the trail, and as I followed this trail up off the beach, I actually come around the corner here, and what I actually saw made me excited, because what I found was this here road. This is a blacktop road, which means this was made by people. There's somewhere along the line I should run into a car, a house, or somebody. This means civilization. So that is how you survive here in the Caribbean. Now, the best thing you have to do, you got to remember, you got to keep your head on a swivel. You got to have a heightened sense of awareness. You have to be confident in the skills that you have in these types of moments. Be proactive, keep moving. Don't just sit in one spot and hope a boat comes by, because you don't know if that boat will come by. So I'm going to follow this road on out, and I know somewhere, sometime soon, I will find civilization and find rescue. So until next time, hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next adventure.